Hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode. I'm so happy you're here today. Today, I will share a very personal story with you. It's the story of how I went from knowing zero English to becoming a confident and fluent English speaker. Yes, it was a long journey, but it's a journey you can also take. Maybe right now you feel nervous when you speak English. Maybe you don't understand fast conversations. Or maybe you think, I'll never speak English like a native speaker. But let me tell you something. I used to feel exactly the same. So in this episode, I will tell you my story step by step. I will also share the most important tips that helped me improve faster. You can follow these tips too. Let's begin. Chapter 1, The Struggle Years, Why I Was Stuck. Hi, my name is Alex. Today, I want to share my English journey with you. It wasn't easy. In fact, the first few years were the hardest. I was stuck for a long time. I tried to study, but I didn't improve. Maybe you feel this way too. If you do, don't worry. You're not alone. Let me tell you how my English journey began and why I stayed stuck for so many years. 1. I thought English was just about grammar. When I first started learning English, I only focused on grammar. I bought many grammar books. I memorized rules like he does and she is going and I have eaten. I thought, if I know the grammar, I can speak well. But even after learning a lot of grammar, I couldn't speak. I couldn't understand movies. I didn't know how to respond in real conversations. I realized that grammar is only one part of English. It's not the whole language. I was like someone who knew all the rules of driving, but had never driven a car. I could talk about how to drive, but I couldn't actually do it. 2. I was afraid of making mistakes. Another big reason I was stuck was fear. I didn't want to speak because I was scared of making mistakes. When I spoke in class, I worried people would laugh at me. I thought, what if I say something wrong? What if they don't understand me? Because of this fear, I stayed silent. I waited for the perfect moment. But that moment never came. Now I know the truth. Making mistakes is part of learning. You can't grow without trying. But back then, fear kept me quiet. And quiet people don't improve fast. 3. I only studied for tests. When I was in school, my goal was not fluency. My goal was passing exams. So I memorized vocabulary lists. I read boring texts. I filled in blanks and answered multiple choice questions. But real-life English isn't like a test. In real life, people don't ask you, what is the past tense of go? They say, hey, want to go out later? School taught me to study English, not to use English. So when I met a tourist or watched a TV show, I was lost. I understood the classroom English, but not the real English. 4. I didn't listen enough. For a long time, I didn't listen to English every day. I only listened in class, maybe 30 minutes a day or less. Outside class, I listened to my native language. On the bus, at home, in shops, and with friends. No wonder my English didn't improve. My ears were not trained. I needed to hear English a lot more. Language is not just something you learn. It's something you absorb. Listening is like planting seeds. You may not see results right away, but slowly your brain grows. At first, I didn't know this. That's why I stayed stuck. 5. I was not consistent. I studied hard, but only for a few days. Then I stopped for weeks. Then I started again. Then I stopped again. It was like trying to build a house and taking a long break after laying each brick. The house would never be finished. Now I know, small steps every day are better than big steps once in a while. If I had just studied 30 minutes a day, every day, I would have improved much faster. But instead, I started and stopped too many times. My progress was slow and I felt frustrated. 6. I had no real goal. Back then, I didn't have a clear goal. I didn't know why I was learning English. Just because wasn't a good reason. When I lost motivation, I didn't know how to stay focused. I didn't have a dream or a plan. I needed something to push me, like a job I wanted, a country I wanted to visit, or a person I wanted to talk to. When you don't have a reason, it's easy to give up. A strong why keeps you going even when things are hard. 7. I didn't speak English. Outside the classroom. Even though I was learning English, I almost never used it outside school. I didn't talk to English speakers. I didn't try to chat online. I didn't record myself speaking. This was a big mistake. Speaking is a skill, like playing the guitar or swimming. You need to do it often. Learning alone is not enough. You must use what you learn. I was like someone reading books about music, but never touching a piano. 8. I was too hard on myself. I compared myself to others. I said things like, "Why is she better than me? He speaks so fast. I will never be like that. I've been learning for years. I should be fluent already." These thoughts made me feel bad. I lost confidence. I forgot to enjoy the process. Now I know that everyone has their own path. Some people learn fast, some learn slow. What matters is not giving up. If you keep going, you will improve, even if it's slow. 9. I didn't know there were better ways to learn. I thought there was only one way to learn English: textbooks, grammar drills, and test prep. I didn't know about podcasts, YouTube shadowing, English audiobooks, or language exchange apps. I didn't know that I could learn English from things I love, like stories, music, and TV shows. Once I discovered new tools, everything changed. But in the beginning, I was stuck because I didn't explore. I only followed what my school told me. 10. I thought fluency was for smart people. Lastly, I didn't believe in myself. I thought I wasn't smart enough. I thought some people were good at languages and some people weren't, and I was in the second group. This mindset is dangerous. It makes you stop trying. Now I know fluency is not about being smart. It's about practice, consistency, curiosity, and time. If you want it and you work for it, you can have it. Conclusion. The struggle years were not a waste, yes. I was stuck for a long time. I made many mistakes. But looking back, I learned a lot. I learned what doesn't work. And that's important too. Because once I saw what wasn't helping me, I could try something different. In the next chapter, I'll tell you about how I fell in love with English and how that love helped me finally start improving. If you're struggling now, don't feel bad. You're just in your struggle years. Keep going. The next chapter is waiting for you too. Hi again. It's me, Alex. In the last chapter, I talked about the years I felt stuck in my English learning. Those were difficult days, but everything began to change when I found a new feeling inside me. I started to fall in love with English. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't suddenly wake up and say, "Wow, I love English now." No, it was slow. But one small moment after another, I started to feel more connected to the language. In this chapter, I want to tell you how that happened and how it helped me go from stuck to moving forward. 1. The first time English made me smile. I still remember the first time I laughed at an English joke in a video. It was a simple YouTube comedy skit. The joke was easy to understand, and I laughed. It felt amazing. Before that, English felt like a school subject. Just grammar, just tests. But in that moment, it felt fun. Real, human. That laugh changed something. I thought, maybe English can be more than study. Maybe it can be a part of my life. 2. I discovered English music changed everything for me. One day, a friend shared a song with me. Count on Me by Bruno Mars. The lyrics were simple. I looked them up. I listened again and again. I'll be there. Like I've been there before. The melody made me feel calm. The words made me feel understood. And suddenly, English didn't feel cold anymore. It felt warm, emotional. I started listening to more songs. Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, the Beatles. I followed the lyrics, sang with them, and sometimes cried. Music became my teacher and my friend. And best of all, I didn't even realize I was learning vocabulary and pronunciation while enjoying it. 3. I watched my first English movie without subtitles. This was a big moment. At first, I could only understand 20–30% of the movie. But I was so curious. I loved the story. I wanted to understand more. So I watched it again. And again. Each time I caught a few more words. I learned new phrases like, "Come on, let's go." "Are you kidding me?" It's not a big deal. These weren't in my grammar book, but they were real, useful, and fun. Movies made me feel like I was part of the English world, not just a student watching from outside. 4. I found English-speaking friends online. One day, I joined a free language exchange app. At first, I was shy. My grammar wasn't perfect, and my vocabulary was limited. But I wanted to try. I met people from the US, the UK, and even other non-native speakers like me. We talked about daily life, food, hobbies, dreams. These weren't just English practice partners. They became real friends. Every time I had a conversation, I felt more confident. My English stopped being a test subject and became a tool for connection. 5. I made English part of my daily life. This was a big turning point. I decided English shouldn't only live in my classroom or textbook. It needed to live in my life. So I made small changes. I changed my phone and laptop language to English. I followed English-speaking YouTubers and influencers. I kept a daily journal, just a few sentences in English. I stuck Post-it notes on things in my house. Mirror, fridge, light switch. Suddenly, English was everywhere. Not as something I had to learn, but something I was surrounded by. This made a big difference. I didn't feel like a student. I felt like someone already living a bilingual life. 6. I learned to laugh at my mistakes before I was afraid of making mistakes. Now, I started laughing at them. Once I told a friend, "I'm so exciting today." I meant excited. She laughed and I laughed too. It became an inside joke between us. Another time I said kitchen when I meant chicken. We both burst out laughing. Instead of feeling shame, I started to see mistakes as funny and even helpful. Each one was a chance to grow. This mindset helped me stop being afraid and start speaking more freely. 7. I fell in love with English voices. Do you know what I mean? Some people's voices in English just sound beautiful, so clear, so expressive. I started listening to certain podcast hosts and thinking, I want to sound like that. Not copy them completely, but learn from their rhythm, their tone, their natural style. One of my favorites was a storyteller from a children's podcast. He spoke slowly, clearly, and with feeling. I shadowed his voice every morning, repeating after him. I didn't just want to learn English. I wanted to sound good in English too. This gave me new motivation. 8. I stopped comparing myself to others. At one point, I was watching other learners on YouTube. Some of them spoke fluently. Others passed IELTS with high scores. I used to think, I'll never be like them. But then I changed my question. Instead of asking, why am I not like them? I started asking, what can I learn from them? That shift helped me stop feeling small and start feeling inspired. I remembered, I'm on my own path, and that's okay. 9. I started to enjoy English, not just study it. This was the heart of everything. Before, English was a task, a job, a stress. Now it became a part of my joy. I loved reading English quotes. I wrote little poems in English. I followed English cooking channels. I listened to English meditation tracks before sleeping. English became my friend. It helped me think in new ways, express myself better, and connect with people I never could before. 10. Love made learning easy. When I loved English, I didn't have to force myself anymore. Studying didn't feel like a burden. It felt like discovery, like a journey. Yes, there were still hard days, but I didn't quit because I didn't just want to pass the test anymore. I wanted to live with English in my heart and mind. Love made me curious. Love made me brave. Love made me consistent. And love helped me grow faster than I ever had before. If you're still struggling, here's my advice. Don't just study English. Try to feel something for it. Find a song that moves you. Watch a movie that excites you. Read a quote that speaks to your heart. Laugh at a joke in English. Cry with a character in a TV show. The moment you feel something, anything, you've started to fall in love. And love will take you further than motivation ever could. In the next chapter, I'll tell you about all the tools I used, the podcasts, apps, books, and strategies that helped me build my own DIY learning toolkit. Thank you for joining me again. Let's keep going. You're doing great. Hi again, it's Alex. In the last chapter, I shared how I slowly fell in love with English through songs, movies, laughter, and real-life experiences. That love gave me energy, but I still needed tools to help me move forward. In this chapter, I'll show you all the things I used to build my DIY English learning toolkit. The apps, websites, methods, and little tricks that helped me grow my vocabulary, improve my speaking, and finally enjoy the learning process. You don't need to spend a lot of money. You just need the right mindset and some smart tools. Let's begin. 1. The input first method. Listening and reading daily. I learned that language begins with input. That means listening and reading a lot, just like babies do before they speak. So I created a daily habit. I listened to podcasts during my commute or walk. I read easy English stories before bed. I watched YouTube videos about cooking, travel, or daily life, but always in English. One great app I used was LingQ. It let me read interesting content and listen to the audio at the same time. I could also save new words with one click. If you're just starting out, here are a few simple input sources I loved. BBC Learning English, app plus website. The English We Speak podcast. Voice of America, Learning English. These are made for learners and use slow, clear English. 2. Shadowing, speak like your favorite voice. Shadowing was a game changer for me. Here's what I did. 1. I chose a short audio clip, 1 to 2 minutes. 2. I listened once. 3. I played it again and repeated every sentence out loud, trying to match the speaker's tone, speed, and pronunciation. At first, I couldn't keep up, but with practice, I got faster and clearer. One of my favorite shadowing resources was English Class 101 on YouTube. They have short dialogues with natural expressions. I also shadowed podcasts like Luke's English podcast, the Stories podcast, for kids but great for learners. Every morning for 10 minutes, I shadowed English, like vocal warm-up exercises. 3. My flashcard habit, learn words the smart way. I used to write down every new word in a notebook, but I didn't remember most of them. Then I discovered Anki, a flashcard app that uses spaced repetition. This means it shows you words just before you forget them. I created my own flashcards. For each card, front, to hang out, back, To spend time with friends, chilling, not working. Example, I hung out with my friends yesterday. I added a voice clip or picture when possible. I studied my Anki cards for just 10 minutes a day. But over months, I remembered hundreds of useful words and phrases. 4. Journaling in English. My daily practice. Writing was always scary for me, but I decided to keep a simple English journal. Every night before bed, I wrote 3 of 5 sentences about my day. One thing I was grateful for. One new word I learned. It looked like this. Today, I walked in the park. The weather was hot. I drank cold juice and listened to music. I learned the word refreshing. That juice was really refreshing. No one checked it. I just wrote for myself. And slowly, my sentences became more natural. Sometimes I also recorded myself reading my journal out loud for speaking and pronunciation practice. 5. Speaking practice. Even without a teacher. Here's the truth. I didn't have many chances to speak English in the beginning, but I created opportunities. Here's what I did. A. Talk to myself. Yes, really. I described what I was doing. Now I'm cooking lunch. I need to wash the dishes. That was delicious. This helped me build automatic thinking in English. B. Language exchange apps. I used free apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, Speaky. I met friendly people who wanted to practice English or my native language. We did voice messages, short calls, and even sent photos with comments. Speaking regularly helped me feel less shy. C. Online speaking clubs. Later, I joined free English Zoom clubs on Facebook or Reddit. There are many people like us trying to improve together. It's not perfect English, but it's real and useful. 6. Listening while doing other things. To improve my listening, I turned everyday moments into practice time. Washing dishes, I played an English podcast. Walking, I listened to slow news. Taking a break, I watched English videos with subtitles. One podcast I loved was Adept English. Short daily listening with clear British pronunciation. Sometimes I even listened while sleeping, just relaxing English sounds. I can't say it made me fluent, but it helped me feel more comfortable with the rhythm of English. 7. Learning in small chunks, the tiny habit method. In the past, I tried to study for 1 hour a day, but I often quit because it felt too long. Then I changed my goal. Just 5-10 minutes a day. That's it. I called it tiny learning. Sometimes I did more, sometimes I didn't. But every day I touched English, even just one new flashcard, one YouTube short, one journal entry, one conversation message. It didn't feel hard, and over months it built real progress. Consistency beats intensity. 8. Using social media in English, I stopped scrolling in my native language. Instead, I followed English teachers on TikTok and Instagram, motivational quotes in English, English recipe videos, English memes, funny and useful. This turned my phone into a learning machine. I also commented on posts, even short comments like, "Great idea. I love this. Thank you for sharing." That helped me write more freely. 9. YouTube plus subtitles. Magic. YouTube became my English classroom. I always turned on English subtitles first. Later, I tried watching with no subtitles. Some of my favorite channels were Speak English with Mr. Duncan, English Addict, Real English Conversations, BBC Learning English. Sometimes I repeated what they said. Sometimes I just watched and listened. Watching real people speak gave me confidence in how English is really used. You don't need all these tools. Start with just 2 or 3. A podcast, a journal, A flashcard app. Make them part of your daily life. Enjoy them. Feel them. You're not just learning a language, you're creating a new version of yourself. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to practice a little every day. Over time, your English will grow, and so will your confidence. In the next chapter, I'll tell you about the time I almost gave up and what helped me keep going. Hi again, it's Alex. In the last chapter, I shared all the tools and methods that helped me build my English skills. Podcasts, shadowing, journaling, flashcards, and more. All of that helped me grow. But today, I want to be honest with you. This chapter is about a time when I almost gave up learning English. Even though I loved the language and had good tools, I still felt tired. I felt stuck. I felt like I was not improving anymore. Maybe you felt that too. I'll tell you what happened, how I felt, and what finally helped me keep going. Let's begin. 1. The plateau. Feeling stuck after months of work. At first, learning English was exciting. I learned new words every day. I could introduce myself, talk about my hobbies, and understand simple videos. But after 6 to 8 months, I hit something called a plateau. A plateau means your progress slows down. You're still studying, but you don't see big results. You feel like you're stuck at the same level. That's what happened to me. I still watched English videos and listened to podcasts, but I didn't understand native speakers and fast conversation. I couldn't join group talks because I was too slow. I made the same grammar mistakes again and again. It felt like I was running in place, working hard but going nowhere. And I began to ask myself, what's the point? Maybe I'll never be fluent. 2. Comparing myself to others. Another big problem was comparison. I followed other English learners online. Some of them spoke so clearly and fluently. They shared their study routines, their perfect grammar, their confident smiles on camera. And I looked at myself, making pauses, forgetting words, struggling to speak naturally. I felt small. I thought, I've studied for months, but I still sound bad. That kind of thinking made me feel unmotivated. I started to doubt myself. I compared my Chapter 4 to someone else's Chapter 10, but I forgot that everyone learns differently and everyone moves at their own speed. 3. The day I wanted to quit. One day, after a long workday, I sat at my desk. I opened my English flashcards. I stared at them. I felt tired. Not just physically, mentally tired. My mind said, "This is useless. You'll never be good enough. Why don't you just stop?" I closed the app. I didn't do shadowing. I didn't listen to any podcast. I just scrolled through social media in my native language. That night, I said to myself, maybe English is just not for me. I felt like giving up. And for a few days, I really stopped. 4. What helped me come back. But after that break, something happened that changed me. I found an old voice recording from 3 months before. It was me trying to describe my morning routine in English. I listened to it and guess what? It sounded bad. I laughed. I was slow, my grammar was wrong, and I had no rhythm. Then I thought, wait a minute. If I sounded like that before, and I sound better now, that means I have improved. I just didn't see it because the progress was small and slow, like water filling a glass drop by drop. That simple voice note reminded me I was better than before. I just needed to keep going. So I made a new promise. Don't quit. Just go slower if needed. 5. Rebuilding my motivation. I knew I needed to feel excited again, so I changed my routine. I added fun. Back into learning, I stopped only doing flashcards and grammar. Instead, I watched funny YouTubers in English. I read short love stories. I listened to cooking shows and travel vlogs. Learning became enjoyable again. B, I set tiny goals. Before I had big goals like become fluent. That was too far away. So I changed them to learn 3 new phrases today. Write 1 short journal entry. Watch 1 English video. These were small wins, but they gave me a sense of progress. C, I started tracking my learning. I used a notebook to write what I learned every day. After 7 days, I looked back and saw, wow, I did a lot this week. That made me feel proud again. 6, talking to other learners. Another thing that helped me was community. I joined a small English group on Facebook. We weren't perfect. Most of us were still learning. But we supported each other. We shared our progress, our struggles, our favorite resources, our weekly goals. Knowing that I wasn't alone gave me strength. I wasn't the only one who felt stuck. I wasn't the only one who wanted to quit. Together, we kept each other moving. 7, learning to accept mistakes. One of my biggest fears was making mistakes. I was afraid people would laugh at my accent or grammar. But I realized something important. Mistakes mean you're learning. Mistakes are part of speaking. Even native speakers make mistakes. So I gave myself permission to be imperfect. I said, it's okay if I speak slowly. It's okay if I say something wrong. What matters is that I try. That change in mindset made me brave again. 8, what I learned from almost giving up. Looking back, I'm actually glad I had that hard moment because it taught me powerful lessons. Progress is not always visible, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Motivation comes and goes. So build habits, not just feelings. Don't compare yourself to others. Your path is yours. Even when you feel stuck, you are still moving forward. Giving up is the only way to truly fail. 9, how I stay motivated now. Now, I have good and bad days like anyone, but I don't let one bad day stop me. I treat English like brushing my teeth, just something I do daily, no matter how I feel. Here are some ways I stay motivated. I follow English learners who are honest, not just perfect. I track my wins weekly, even small ones. I rewatch old videos or listen to old recordings to see my progress. I change my learning style when it gets boring. Most importantly, I remind myself, I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. Final thoughts. In this chapter, I shared my most difficult moment on my English journey, the time I almost gave up. It was hard, but it made me stronger. If you're feeling tired, lost, or stuck right now, please remember, it's normal to feel that way. You're not alone. You've already come a long way. Progress is slow, but it's still progress. Take a break if you need, but don't quit. Fluency is a journey, not a destination. Now that I feel fluent, does it mean I've finished learning? No way. I still learn new vocabulary. I still practice pronunciation. I still try to sound more natural. Fluency is not the end. It's just a part of the journey. Every day I try to get 1% better. That's my secret now. I don't study for 5 hours a day. I just read a short article, watch 1 video, write a few sentences, practice for 15 minutes. Little by little, I grow, and that's what I hope for you too. Final thoughts, you can be fluent too. If you've followed my story from chapter 1 to now, thank you. We've talked about feeling stuck and frustrated, falling in love with English again, finding tools that work, surviving the hard days. And now, what fluency really means, I want to leave you with this message. You don't need to wait for a magic moment to feel fluent. You don't need to wait for someone to tell you, you're fluent. You decide. If you can express your ideas, if you can enjoy using English, if you keep learning with joy, then you are already more fluent than you think. Thank you for being part of my journey. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more English learning stories and tips. Let's keep growing together.